Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for calling this very important hearing. You know, I've been on the Indian Affairs Committee since I came to the Senate. And every few years, we have a hearing very similar to what we have heard today. And as Senator Heitkamp reminded us, this is not new. These are issues that we have been facing for years, perhaps just at a higher profile. But Mr. Chairman, I really hope that as an outcome from today's hearing and what we have had put in front of us again, and the statistics that we have been reminded of yet again about the horrible violent crime rates that we see amongst American Indians and Alaska Natives, 2.5 times higher than national average. Native youth experiencing violent crimes rates at a rate of 10 times the national average. I mean, we just say these statistics over and over and over again. And I, at home, remind people that our Alaska Native women are sexually assaulted at a rate of 12 times the national average. And it's almost like you just become numb. But think about those victims and how numb they are, because in far too many cases, they have asked that their voices be heard. They have tried to speak up, but the services have not been made available to them. And in Alaska, we talk about the issues of jurisdiction and whether or not we have enough state troopers, or whether we have the VPSOs, and whether or not they should be armed. But you know, at the end of the day, and Mr. Godfrey, you speak to this, we need to have rapid response. But if the rapid response doesn't yield anything that equates to justice at the end, what have we done to let them believe that they do have value, that their speaking up will yield a different outcome instead of just yet another instance of victimization, perhaps by the same person? And so when we look to the small things that we might be able to do to make a difference, prosecuting, well, you can't prosecute if you haven't collected the evidence. Rape kits. I understand, Mr. Godfrey, that back home in the state, we've got a backlog for rape kits waiting to be analyzed in the state. This is from the crime lab there. They say 150 plus backlog. We have a lack of staff in the state. They have a 2-year training adding to the backlog. Sexual assault kits not tested on a first in, first out, but by most critical classification, leaving victims to wait. So you've got a situation where even if you have gone to the extent to collect the evidence needed, you're not seeing a rapid response. But even worse, I was at an event last evening and talking about the situation out in Bethel, and I believe you may have been discussing that when I came in, and I apologize that I did not hear all of your testimony. But I understand that in Bethel, YKHC has stopped collecting evidence from rape victims, or had stopped, because of a funding issue. A community of 6,000 people, as you note, and the outlying villages where there's nobody to collect the evidence. And so if you can't collect the evidence, there will be no rapid response. There will be no prosecution. There will be no justice for that victim. And so he or she just gives up. Just gives up, because we haven't been able to take the first step. Mr. Godfrey, can you confirm whether or not we have resolved the situation in Bethel? Are they now collecting evidence from victims of rape? Have we addressed that?
Yes, Senator. The governor's special advisor on crime prevention and policy has dealt with that, and the administration running the hospital has seen the light, if you will. Unfortunately, their problem had been one in which philosophically they made a comment to her that indicated they thought that that was a law enforcement function, not a medical function, so they don't know why they should have been doing them in the first place. But the trained personnel they had moved on, and they didn't train up anyone else behind that, those trained SART response
May
nurses.
I just